LegacyMaker, the All Sports Network.
This is it. This is for all the chips. Work for championships. No, it gets no better than this. Just sit and relax a bit. We're talking to pass and blitz. We're talking to jump and switch. We're talking to pitch and miss. Clean space, kick space. You come to the right place. Deep bait. I don't need to see other shows. I'm straight. Cause they're not impressing me. I tune into Legacy. Legacy. Fourth and goal and on the road. Legacy. Down 3 seconds to go. Legacy. 2 out, bases loaded. Legacy. It's not a mystery, you're tuned into Legacy. Check a flag on the final lap. Legacy. 12th round, who gets in the match? Legacy. You want a Legacy. You build a Legacy. Broadcasting live right now so the whole world can see.
Now, the LegacyMaker Sports Podcast.
Welcome, everybody. We about to get this bad boy started.
Here are your hosts, Darrell Owens and Jay Quimby.
Bring us back on the screen. There we go. All right. Well, welcome everybody to episode 298. Forgot to bring us back on the screen here on the LegacyMaker Sports Podcast, 2 away from the glorious 300. And we are glad to be here with y'all here on this gorgeous first show of August here in 2022. As we're here August the 3rd to bring you another edition of 4 days. Very excited to bring that to you today. We're focusing on the AFC East today. So with all that fun stuff being said, beside me, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Jeremiah Quimby. How you doing, sir? No.
I know. I'm just
I'm about to say bro. Not this time.
I'm doing well, brother. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's been a very busy last couple of weeks. Things are starting to pick up, as you know, affectionately like to call it the busy season. So and then guess what? No, there are no more Sundays without football. Yeah, that's right. We got the Hall of Fame game this week, and I didn't even think about it. We need to talk about that. I mean, it's the Hall of Fame game, but it's just the fact that football is back. The Jaguars are taking on the Raiders. My man, Leroy Butler is getting into the Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Leroy. So happy. There's others, but I'm just excited to see Leroy finally get the chance to take that leap and make it into the Hall of Fame.
Funny that the Hall of Fame game has the 2 teams from last year that their coaches had the most controversy surrounding them.
Yes, I would call this the Gruden Bowl because at some point both teams had a Gruden, but we're not going to do that. we're not going to do that.
Well, we could be like, you could do Gruden giving a thumbs up.
Boy, yeah, I don't know if that's the way we need to go on that one. But yes, once again, everybody, thank you all for tuning in. We got a lot of topics to get into, and of course, we're going to break down the AFC East. So we got a good one for you today. Now, I know me and Jay always talk about we hate starting off with sad news, but it seems like the last 2 years there's always something that has happened or something that's kind of taken place, and we've lost 2 legends in the last couple of days. We're going to talk about one now. We'll talk about the other one in just a little bit. But the first one that we're going to talk about is Mr. Bill Russell. Bill Russell passed away this week at the age of 88. He passed away on Sunday. Bill Russell, 11-time champion, 5-time MVP, and a head coach. An activist for the Black community. I could go on and on. I mean, not just the Black community, but just, Americans in general. I'm not just going to sound crazy, Jay, but Bill Russell is one of those guys that you don't think will ever die. You know what I'm saying? Like, when it happens, you're like, wow, that happened. I mean, and he was 88 years old, a good life. Some people don't get, to be that lucky. And for him, it's like he's an amazing part of the NBA community. And, we lost a special person in Bill Russell.
Oh, absolutely. Just the charisma, the knowledge that, was lost. But flip side of it, you got that time. People got to know him. You got to listen to him. I mean, death is tragic, but it's part of life. So you look at the good that came by it. I mean, he could easily be one of the top 5 players ever. Easily. But then everybody's like, well, what about this? And what about that? Who cares? Well, this man just, if he wasn't on the Celtics, would they have won that many chips? Let's be honest. Would he? Would they?
If we had to be truly honest, Jay, when you go back and look at what he did, I saw a picture the other day of him jumping over his teammate. He jumped over his teammate to block a shot.
Mhm.
That's the type of stuff that we were seeing from this man, and I hate that he's gone. But the legend that he is, I'm glad to say that I got a chance to see him. Maybe not play in his time, but just to see him as the person that he was, and the legend that he was, and what he meant to the game, and what he meant to sports, and what he meant to people in general.
Right, but I'm not trying. It just happens to work. But his legacy will be something that will be looked upon for generations. Let's be honest.
Exactly. So much love to Bill. We just wanted to send out our condolences to his family. Before we move on, because we do got a little bit more to get into. First, Becca Cottenham Quimby, we are getting closer to 300. Yes, we are, ma'am. Yes, we are. Now, the way it's lining up, we're probably that fourth week in August. I'll be on vacation next week. And so we'll start 299 the following week. Legacy on Fire is coming back that week. It's gonna be crazy. And then the following week, that fourth week of August, we should have episode 300. And very excited about that.
I'm looking at my schedule because I might be in Disney.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. So we're gonna we'll figure it out, but it's gonna happen hopefully before the end of the month. And then I don't know why LA Pictures doesn't come up anymore, but we know who this is. Looking like Jay, look at Jay looking like a plate of hot wings with blue cheese. I prefer ranch in that situation, but to be honest with you, I usually eat my wings straight up. So that's just me.
That's not the only thing he eats straight up.
Oh, Jesus Christ! All right, no, let's move on and get into some stuff here. I'm real quick because I know I mentioned we talked a little bit about the trade or we talked about Vin Scully, or we need to talk about Vin Scully because we found out that Vin Scully passed away yesterday, 94 years old, legend, absolute legend in the broadcasting game. For those people who wanted to be a broadcaster and wanted to just be in sports, especially if you're a Dodgers fan. He
MLB wise, the name goes. There's only maybe 2 other people you could think that goes in MLB broadcasting, and Harry Carey,
right,
and Bob Uecker.
Yeah, I that's 100% on the mark. The only other person, who the only other person I throw in there is my man Gary Thorne. But as much as I love Gary Thorne in baseball, those guys that you just named they're as top notch as they get. They are the pinnacle of baseball announcers.
A bit outside.
Just a bit outside. It's been a tough week for legends, but in that aspect, 2 giants in the industry, long lives, great people,
very long lives. That's what I'm saying.
Good. Glad to be able to hear him call some great moments. Had a chance to go back and listen to some great moments. He called in Hank Aaron's 715 home run. I mean, just stuff like that. He was there when that's how he was in the game so long. He announced Jackie Robinson games. Like he called the Kirk Gibson home run in 1988. Just a great broadcaster and
got
sports
to
legend.
See one more chip before he went.
Yep, I'm glad that he had that opportunity too, and it was a little tough deal, a little bit of a tough deal, but praying for his family as well. So Vin Scully and Bill Russell's families, our prayers go out to you. Now let's get into some fun stuff. I know we talked a little bit of sadness, but we wanted to make sure the legends get their proper due because they are legends, and they're a part of the reason why we even do this type of stuff. Now,
absolutely,
Major League Baseball moves, Jay. It has been a wild. There were so many moves that happened. There was to me, it was like they were fad this whole week. It was like trade. Biggest trade of all. Juan Soto, the Washington Nationals young stud, traded to the San Diego Padres for everything. I mean, I'm pretty sure they may have given their World Series trophy along with the trade. It's just it was a crazy trade. What are your thoughts on Soto heading to San Diego?
I mean, if you look at San Diego and they get everybody healthy, that 3-4-5 is, like we talked about, insane. But batting doesn't just win the titles, because you got to have pitching. You got to stay healthy, and you got to stay away from the Astros and their trash cans.
Not they got to stay away from the Astros.
Well, part of me, like the Hosmer thing, I understand you have no trade clause, but that felt a bit childish on his part. I'm glad they sent him packing, because you don't need that drama in your clubhouse either.
No, not if you're the Padres. Year before last, they make the playoffs. Last year, they don't make the playoffs. A lot of disappointment. And this year, they're in the drive. Last time I checked, they were in the driver's seat in the West. If not, they're right there with the Dodgers. I know it's been a battle. But they felt like they needed this move, and the San Diego fan base is hyped. I mean, you got two young studs in that lineup, and including Machado, but you got him and Tatis. When Tatis get back, I mean, they're going to be amazing. They should be amazing, right? They should be.
They should be, but again, should be. You go back and look in the late 90s. Look at some of the lineups the Cleveland Indians put out with all that talent, and they couldn't bring it home. It all comes down to October. Yep. That's it.
You got to get there, see what happens. Now, before we move on with this, were there any other trade deadline moves that you liked or disliked?
I disliked the haul that the Orioles got for Trey Mancini. I really felt the talent that he had, they should have got more in return. I think it was just, he was unhappy, and they just sent him. They were just, get out. Didn't like it. And then your boys, I really think they got a nice piece.
They overpaid.
They definitely overpaid, because he was there. They basically traded for what he was, not what he is now. And that's scary in a certain way.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at I know that the Yankees traded Gallo, but I think Yankees fans couldn't wait for him to go. And they traded him to the Dodgers. They couldn't wait for that man to leave the building. I know that there was a lot of buzz around. I know Syndergaard went to Philadelphia, which was an interesting move. Philly trying to get some pitching help for the stretch. A lot of people are wondering why the Braves didn't go out there and do a little more, but the Braves have been playing really well. Maybe you don't mess with chemistry. For me, I think most teams made moves that they truly felt like that would help those teams. For a team like Seattle, I don't like talking about Seattle on the show. That's usually against my law. I won't talk positive about them because that usually ends up bad. But I will say they obviously they want to make the playoffs. They knew they needed pitching. Is he the right move? We're going to find out. And Jay, you said to me earlier, it's like he was all-star twice, but was he really an all-star twice? You're the best player on a bad team. So that's usually how that goes.
Right. I mean, because they could have went and got a serviceable pitcher, like Savelli, or heck, even the Guardians were putting up Bieber. That he was available for trade.
Shoot, man,
they could have. You guys could have got.
The Angels
Bieber.
Wouldn't have traded them to us, but they should have gave us Syndergaard. But I don't know if I want him, so we good.
But I mean, if you think about it, you take one of your top 100 and then add one more guy with it. The Cleveland would have gave you, because Cleveland's always about cheap, quality players, but at cheap and controllable.
Right. So we'll see how these things play out. We got 2 months left in the baseball season, man. All I can say is I got my fingers crossed, and I'm leaving it at that. So that's all, and I'm leaving it at that. Let's move on to everybody's favorite subject. I feel like we talk about this every week. But you know what? It's always the biggest topic of conversation. We got a little bit of an update on this Deshaun Watson situation. It's a pretty solid update for those out there. So Deshaun Watson suspended for 6 games. 6 games. And most Cleveland fans were like, whew, most Cleveland fans, the ones that are not women, we're like, whew, boy, man, that was, if we can just be 3-3 or, 4-2 or, just make it through without destroying ourselves to the first 6 games, we'll get Deshaun Watson back. But the NFL says, hold up, they have appealed the ruling. They want the suspension for longer. And Jay, the word on the street is they want it for a year, at least a year, or indefinite suspension until everything is cleared up. And they wanted to fine him. So, man, that's a lot to take in. This all happened in the last, 3 days?
It has. And, one of two things. I like the NFL's doing this, but, what they're doing it just to cover their own ass. Let's look. We go back, we'll say 6-7 years ago, and they were so quick to sweep stuff like this underneath the rug just to get it done. And Calvin Ridley got suspended a year for gambling. I seen a meme that he got another year because he was gambling on Deshaun Watson's.
Wow, hilarious! Oh man, and that's rough. Oh, that's rough, right
there. So he's gambling while he's doing this, and he gets a year, and it don't make sense. It don't add up. Yes, he's settling out of court, so there was wrongdoing. He can't say he didn't do something wrong because you went and settle something out of court unless you were guilty.
I agree with that. I also said though, it's like, even if, and I can kind of flip that a little bit, because I also felt like, and I'm not saying this is what happened, but and I told you, if I'm a woman in this situation and Deshaun Watson put his hands on me, I want justice. If I felt like I was done wrong, bump the settlement. It ain't about the money for me. This is just me though. I can't speak for the other 27 women or 24 women that went in there and said, I want his pockets to hurt. Maybe that's what their reasoning behind it was. But for me, I want justice. If you touch me, I want you to go to jail. And obviously they're at the point now they're in the civil trial. They can't arrest him, or they can't retrial him on that. But the civil trial, this is about the money. And I think them just trying to push it so they can make him hurt a little bit. But Jay, you brought up a good point. When you go back and look at it, I feel like the NFL is just doing this, and we talked about this before the show. They're really just doing this to say, but like they can care less at this. I'm not gonna say they care less, but they can. No, I mean they could care less at this point, Jay. They just want to make it look like they're trying. They couldn't let what happened with Ray Rice and all that stuff in the past, where they just slowed down.
But Ray Rice, did he play again?
He never played again. So so Deshaun Watson is already a step ahead of him because he's more likely going to play again. Colin, the Colin Kaepernick situation a little bit, had some, hits and misses on there.
Colin Kaepernick, everybody thinks it's because he took a knee, but if you look at his last game stats, 5 of 10, 4 interceptions, and Warren Sapp was there for his tryout and said it was terrible.
Well, I mean,
the last time
6 years out of the league now. I understand that. I still, I don't want to go get too deep into Colin, but
we have so many people saying, "Well, I would take Kaepernick right now." And you know what? As soon as he has his first 3 interception game, they're chastising him.
They'll be ready for him, right? But well, you know how we feel about this. Like, Colin Kaepernick doesn't want to come back in the league. Why?
No.
But every now and then he's got to do this, to make it. You got to keep
it.
Yeah, but I think it's also about the movement. You got to keep the movement alive. And
you put a little gasoline on the fire to keep it burning.
Right. If Colin really wanted to come back to play football, in my opinion,
he'd be back.
XFL, one of those other leagues, shows off, balls out, he would easily get another shot.
USFL, right?
Right. One of them. And I know that's probably beneath him in some people's eyes, but what could you have brought to that league? You know what I'm saying? What could you have done for that league? That's why I said, nah, bro. Like, nah, nah. But we ain't gonna go too deep in that. But
Right.
with this Deshaun Watson situation, Jay, you know,
this will be going on the entire year.
yeah. It's one of those things that it's gonna go on. It feels like it's gonna go on forever.
But I'm going to tell you right now,
even after everything goes, he's gonna get such a mixed review at every stadium. Well, when he's at away stadiums, he's gonna get booed religiously. When he's at home, it's gonna be a mixed bag. Now that all can change if they win in most people's eyes, because that's how certain things go. You know, you win and they're like, look, man, he's pulling off victories, man. Like the past is the past. That's how some people look at it. I'm just throwing it out there, you know.
But now I know he did wrong. I'm not going to take that away. But then on the justice scale, how much of this is also Houston's fault?
It's a lot of Houston's fault. I'm telling you right now, everybody's putting everything on Desean, but Houston is like, all right, the equivalent to what he's doing is if you were a I won't say pedophile, but it's like the equivalent of you are a bank robbery, but you're driving the car. You know what I'm saying? Like you didn't go in the bank and pull out the gun, but you're driving the car. And that's what the Houston Texans were. They were driving the car, Jay. They went in there. They knew something was up, but they was like, look, you are our quarterback. We paying you all this money. You know,
the NDAs they were having people sign.
That's what I'm saying. Like they had to know something was going on.
And everybody had to know something was going on because, in my head, this is why I think J.J. Watt left. J.J. Watt loved the Texans.
Right.
And I'm sure he wanted to retire and be a Houston Texan forever. But as soon as he saw this boiling of shit that was going on, he's like, pace.
But that's what I'm saying. Everybody started running away. Hopkins gets traded. You had three of the best players in the NFL on that team. Hopkins, probably at the time, arguably the best receiver in the league. You had J.J. Watt, who was a three-time defensive player. Injuries here and there, but nevertheless, you got one of the best defensive players all time on your team. Then you have Deshaun Watson, who is a young, at the time, probably a guy who, under miserable situations, was still, pulling off 40 touchdown seasons with only 6 interceptions with no receivers. So you had all that talent. And then all of a sudden, all the talent's like, nah, bro, we either want out or we want to be traded.
Even a guy that went to your team, their former first-round pick, Wiley.
Yeah, Wiley ran out. Like, I want to go. So to me, that's an organizational thing. And they're just as much to blame to me.
And that's why I'm saying why I understand why the NFL, but, we'll get to, I'm sure, the Dolphin thing later. But why are they not losing draft picks? Why are they not getting fined for this shit?
Exactly. Maybe it's still to come. But something's got to give. You can't tell me that they're going to get off scotch-free for this. But the NFL's really got a problem on their hands. Like every week it's something crazy. And sometimes it's like small, but it's crazy stuff every week. And sometimes it gets to a point where it outrules the football. And you don't want that. Like, I mean, we've actually been going on for years. We talked about it. It seems like there's always one big NFL scandal every year. And this Watson thing has been going on for 2 years. They had Ray Rice. They had Colin Kaepernick. They had, the Brian Flores thing, which is kind of low key still going on to an extent. It's just always something.
I actually read the article about what's going on with Miami, and when we get to that, I'll just lay that out.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear that. But yeah, Deshaun Watson, as we got to keep you updated. I know I feel like usually at the shows I get rid of graphics, but I just kept this one. I knew we was going to use it again at some point. I was like, certain ones, I'm like, nah, we're going to keep this one.
We had MassageGate already with, Kraft. This one is Towelgate.
Man, this is bad. This is bad. All right, next one, our last top story. Kind of want to get into NFL training camps. Now, we talked about last week when we did our show, it was just getting underway first day. Now, Jay, we've had a week to kind of like look into the camps and see what players are doing. We've lost a couple of players. Some players have gotten injured. What are your thoughts so far on NFL training camp?
I mean, it's been somewhat, decent camp. We're seeing players we hadn't seen in a hot minute, like, Mike Thomas running routes, which is great. You want to see players come back that, are considered still to be at the top of their game. But then it's very difficult to be a coach and know how long to play your starters, in practice and do stuff, because you want them ready. You don't want them gasping for air first game, but I'll use my own team. Jansen, Pro Bowl center, got a new contract, got paid, and then he could be done for the year.
It's
And
crazy.
If you with Jansen being gone, that takes the entire center of that line, and they're out. They're done.
That's a tough deal. One of the other things that I think a lot of people seen at these camps is all right, excuse my language, I call them helmet condoms. But the little padding janks that they've had on top of their heads, that's what I've been calling them. I'm sorry, the helmet condoms, the
It
extra
looks
padding,
ridiculous, bro. It does.
the extra padding, the extra protection that they've been using for the players, they look ridiculous. But I'm all about player safety. I want the guys to be safe out there. So I understand that. But they're not using them during the game. So yeah.
Trying to find one of your in your pictures that you put up. Here you go. Here's one of those helmet condoms.
Here it is, ladies and gentlemen, helmet condom, right
now,
there.
What now to me that looked like they just flipped the helmet inside out.
That's what it looks like. It's like they took the pad and said we're gonna toss it and they toss it on top of the helmet.
Something I've been hearing that the coaches are complaining about and worried about is the players that have these feel that it's safer to use their heads. So now they're leading with their head again. And that's how you end up like Jermichael Finley and, Sterling Sharp.
Right.
And I'm not trying to pick your Packers, but I mean, that's what really got him ultimately was neck injuries.
Neck injuries. They've been very interesting to see. I mean, if they do the job, I'm all down for it. But they're definitely the helmet condoms are very interesting. Very interesting.
You need to put them on the crash test dummies.
Yeah. I went back and I was at Commanders camp today and their offense has struggled tremendously. It's gotten better each day. But it's still not there yet. Their defense has played really well, and that's without
Chase Young.
With Chase Young being there, Montez, the young guys, Percy Butler doing some good things. So, Commanders have had some flashes here and there. Another camp that has been really, and we talked about it last week, was the Panthers. So Baker Mayfield, hit Robbie Anderson with a bomb in practice, and people are like, "Oh my goodness, I'm so happy. The beef is over. The beef is over." But what other things have you heard from camp that you either excited about or?
I'm excited. The main thing with a lot of these teams is you want your stars. You got to have your stars because they do what they do. They put butts in the seat.
Right.
But what if your star gets hurt, aka the Vikings? You got to have a backup because Dalvin Cook again. So you got to have a contingency plan. As far as the Commanders and their offense, they really messed up bringing Wentz in because I'm going to tell you, Heineke, he was the key. It's almost a flip of what the Vikings did that year that Case Keenum was like balling out, and they're like, okay, we'll take Cousins. See you, bro.
Yeah, I'm split on that because I felt like Carson had even despite the rough ending, I thought Carson had a pretty decent year. I mean, obviously, when you got a running back like that, Jonathan Taylor was killing them out there. I don't know. I always want to see Carson do well. He's had a couple of rough days here at camp, like throwing some picks in there. He's thrown a couple. He's thrown a couple out there. But Heineke, I still feel like this Washington offense problem is their offensive coordinator, Scott Turner. I'm sorry. Every year they get down the field, they get into the red zone and then they can't score. End up kicking field goals. Like what's going on that you get to the red zone and you cannot score? It feels that way every time.
It's bad play calling, and I'll give Ron Rivera credit. The loyalty's there, but if you look when Cam Newton was not his quarterback, how good did he do? Really,
it hasn't been. Look, Ron Rivera's only got 3 winning seasons. He's been in the league 12 years. He's got 3 winning seasons. I'm not taking anything away from him as a human being, as a person. But when it comes down to it, you got to look at records, man. Like his records are usually like 7-9.
Is he the new Jeff Fisher?
I don't know if he's Jeff Fisher bad. Jeff Fisher was different. I know we had I think our man Cortland when we went to ACC tried to argue that Jeff Fisher was actually it might have been him. I don't want to be wrong, but somebody down there was arguing about
it was Cortland, I believe.
Yeah, talking about how Jeff Fisher was a lot better than that. I'm like, yeah, Jeff Fisher did some good things. Don't get me wrong, but no, not at all. I mean, I'm surprised he held on as long as he did. Real quick, Anthony Price. If you are going hard and practice 100%, do you sit your starters for the preseason?
Yes, I believe you do. Because
I would say so as well, Anthony, because when you go and look at it, if this is the case, to me, I've always felt the preseason really is to, get a chance to see what your backups can do. That's the way it's always end up being. I mean, your starters only really get out there for what? A series most of the time, unless you just need a lot of help. But most of the time, the starters only play like 3 or 4 snaps. Like they play one drive and they're off the field. So it's almost like, all right,
For me, the preseason is to find the other 31 roster spots.
Right.
That's really where it's at, is to figure out who's going to be your special teams, who's going to be your, 4th defensive lineman,
right,
your 3rd or 4th linebacker, and then, add depth in the secondary. That's 100% where it should be at. Especially an extra game in now. Last year we added one more game.
One more thing here from Anthony. Anthony says, as a coach of Denver, if you see many of your starters getting season-ending injury, what would you change up?
See, and that's a rough one because, they had a great receiving core, and it's it hurts me to see him go down.
Yeah, man. Tim Patrick is a big loss to me because I thought he was gonna have a big year with Russ.
He looked phenomenal last year, and then I read something on Hamler about him. Mentally, he was thinking about he was done. He was over it, and you worry about young people, and I say that because I'm old.
Right.
But, if you're Denver, you got to be worried about it because, Russ is a great quarterback. He's long in the tooth, but you invested a lot to bring him in. You got to make sure. I mean, first of all, we had this with when they were the Washington Redskins. They injuries left, right, everywhere. And it goes down to your head trainer, because your trainer is the one that's supposed to make sure that they're ready to take the field. They're stretching, they're hydrated, things like that. And if they're not doing their job, get rid of them.
Right. Agree. I'm just intrigued to see how that thing kind of changes over the next couple of years. Are you going to be more protective of your players? Obviously, they're trying to make it, at least make it look like they're trying to be safe. So, I mean, they already moved the preseason down to 3 games, which, to be honest with you, probably only really needs to be 2. But,
I agree. Well, with us being new coaches now, the one thing that we practice is make sure you're stretched and stay hydrated.
Exactly.
We don't want to see anybody getting hurt. Yes, the big hits are awesome, but you really want to see somebody, their entire life turned upside down over something? No,
not at all. And so hopefully, the players can be safe out there. Training camp as we go along, we'll give you more updates. Just all I know is football is back, baby. Like it's happening this week. We're going to see NFL teams on the field, even though it may not be the best NFL teams to an extent, but we're going to see NFL teams, and it's like we're in full swing now, baby. Let's get it rolling. All right, now speaking of that, let's get into our 4 days. We got we're going to talk AFC East today. That's the Jets, the Bills, the Dolphins, and the Patriots. A quarterback that has a lot of quarterbacks under the age of 25, 26. A young quarterback division.
Some of the youngest and brightest quarterbacks.
Yes, a very intriguing quarterback division at that, Jay. So let's start off with the team that finished in 4th place last year, the New York Football Jets, 4-13, 4th in the division. They add Langston Tomlinson to that offensive line to help protect Wilson, which is going to be a huge key. And then they lost Marcus May. Marcus May heading on down to New Orleans to replace Marcus Williams. Jay, what are your thoughts on this Jets team as they head into the 2022 NFL season?
Well, on the down low, they really had, just New York teams, period, had phenomenal drafts because they were able to, add that piece. They brought in Tomlinson. Becton is still trying to find his way, so he's still on the one side. They drafted Vera Tucker, but then they get Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner.
Man, what a draft for the Jets.
And
what a draft for the Jets.
We're able to trade back up and get Jermaine Johnson, who just is a monster of a pass rusher. I mean, if they don't win, the Carl Lawson thing, I'm not really impressed with Lawson because he's about as healthy as I am. If I was playing football, I'm not trying to be mean to him, but he's always hurt, man.
I look at this Jets team.
I'm excited.
I am. I don't want to hype them too much. They're like the Atlanta Falcons to me. I don't know why the Atlanta Falcons and the New York Jets seem exciting to me this year. Like I want to see if they can really do well. And I like Robert Saleh. Maybe that's because I like Robert Saleh as a coach, and I want to see him, prosper.
Yes.
Wilson has shown glimpses. Aaron Rodgers has raved about him. That's when you got one of the guys saying that the kid's special. That's a pretty good deal.
Let's just call Zach Wilson the way he is. He's a Cougar hunter, man.
I was about to say, despite all his off-field, his off-season craziness, it's just like, wow, all I know is I like this team. I like what they're trying to do. Hugh Douglas, and I think it's Joshua Hugh Douglas. I know last name Douglas, but their GM has done a really good job. He came over from Philadelphia, and it may not look like it right away, but if you go back and truly look at what he's done some really good things of putting the pieces together there.
D.O., who's their OC?
In New York?
Yeah.
I want to say it's I think it was our old quarterback coach.
Yep.
I can't remember which one though.
Matt LaFleur.
Oh yeah, Matt's brother. Yeah, Matt. Look, I think Saleh set themselves. They're in a tough division. That's what's going to be really tough for this Jets team. They're in a tough division.
And I forgot they got the best running back besides Walker in this draft with Hall. Hall is going to.
Yeah. And then they got Carter from last year. They got pieces, man. That's what I'm just intrigued to see what Saleh and this team can do.
The one guy I got to give it out to Rob real quick is Barrios in the slot. Watch out for him. Fantasy players. He gonna light it up.
Barrios came on late last year and had some good moments. They signed him back. He's a special teams guy, but he also is like the third or fourth receiver, but he makes plays. So, and the way Wilson moves around on the field, the way he can throw the football, they're going to be interesting to watch. I'm excited to watch the Jets. I can't believe I'm saying that out loud, but I'm excited to watch.
I don't want to, jinx them, but, very similar in the play style to your favorite guy in this division.
Right. And I think that's why Aaron Rodgers was raving about him so much. I mean, if you watch the way he moves and the way he throws the ball, maybe across his body, all that. Like, the kid's got talent. So we're gonna see what the Jets
Rogers
can do.
just called him to see how do you find older women, because I can only date 12-year-olds.
Hilarious. Next one, we've got the Miami Dolphins. Last year, the Dolphins finished 9-8, third in the division. Key addition, Tyreek Hill. They got a couple of key additions. You know, when I went back to look at this, Jay, I was trying to figure out who to put in the spots. They signed so many people. They really didn't lose anybody, but they did lose Brian Flores. I was looking through trying to find, like, well, who can I find as a key loss? But, you know, the guy I saw as a loss, I don't even know who he was. I'm like, Brian Flores is the key loss here. But to me, you look at this Miami Dolphins team, 9-8, a lot of expectations. You know, you sign Chase Edmonds, who had a great year last year with the Cardinals. You know, your receiving core now, you got Waddle along with Tariq. Man, and Tua, you ain't got no excuses, brother. You got to come to play.
I mean, well, and, you know, they signed Armstead, and they brought in, you know, Raheem Morstead was brought in also. And the coach, McDaniels, right? Yeah, Mike McDaniels. He runs that zone blocking scheme for their runners the same way that, you know, they do in San Francisco. So it's one cut and downhill. He brought in guys that got that speed. And Teddy B was brought in. So Tua, if you throw it deep and it comes up short, you're on the bench, man.
Right. That's crazy. Real quick before we move, a couple comments. Snowman always out here throwing fire. Montana's the greatest quarterback. Rodgers won't get it done this year. Leave me alone, Snowman. I'm not talking to you. Next one, In and Out Sports Debate. What's up, fellas? What's up, Drew? Be safe out there in the mountains. Don't fall off the cliff. Last time I saw you landing on the ledge, brother. You better be careful out there. And this one from the Snowman got me kind of blown. 3-14 for the Dolphins this year.
Oh no.
I don't know if it's that bad. If it is that bad, somebody's getting fired. Somebody's getting fired, Jay, if it's that bad.
Yeah. Favorite player, Jerome Baker. Where's my mama? Have you seen my mama? I love it, dude.
Where you be at? Look, on paper, this Dolphins team should make the playoffs. On paper, should. But it's all about Tua. They finally got a running game. Yeah. If, like you said, Morstead has to stay healthy. He's been injured the last couple of years. You know, but we've seen what he did to Green Bay a couple of years ago in the NFC Championship game. My man destroyed us, but we didn't have a defense then. Anyway, I don't even know if we really got. We're gonna see if we have a defense now.
But you know what you got? Excuses.
No comment. I'm not. We're not getting into that. That's ridiculous. But I like this. The Dolphins. That's why I said this division to me is intriguing. A lot of young talent all the way across the board.
They could have 3 teams from this division make the playoffs, but then you flip and look at the other coast of the AFC. It's just as dangerous.
It's just the same way. But it wouldn't surprise me. You know, with it being 7 now, let's see, you get 4. It could happen. Would it happen? I'm not for sure, but it could. The West is going to be a dogfight. And that's why I think a lot of people don't realize, like, the other teams could sneak in if the dogfight is too tough.
2 years ago, this was one of the worst divisions in football, hands down.
Now it's to me, it's the division with the most potential.
Yeah, exactly. But What is potential, Darrell? Only what you do with it, bro.
That's right. Next one, let's head to the number 2 team last year. And for a while, we got to talk. This team won 7 in a row and had shocked a lot of people, and they were able to make the playoffs. They went 10-7, second in division. Key addition, Jabril Peppers. You know, they lost J.C. Jackson, which was a huge loss. But, you know, Bill's always been pretty good about finding defensive backs. That's one thing I will give Bill Belichick credit for. But, you know, another intriguing team. Mac Jones last year shocked a lot of people. He went out there and played solid, had a little bit of a rough ending to the season, but had a pretty good season overall. What are your thoughts on the Patriots?
Oh, did you see his his body transformation over the offseason?
He looks good, man. He trimmed up. My man is ready for the goal.
It kind of the way his abs were looking. Remember Steve Weatherford, the punter from the Giants? He was looking like that. But you look at Belichick, and you know Cole Strange in the first round. I am still scratching my head. Like, this guy was at best a third round pick, and you take him in the what in the hell?
Intriguing. I sometimes it blows my mind on some of the moves that they make. But Bill Belichick usually is pretty good at this stuff. But I don't know, Jay.
I just remember the picture of his son. That's the next bloodline. Okay.
Yeah. I look this Patriots team. I expect them to be tough. I expect them to be physical. I expect them to play well. I mean, can they make the playoffs again? Yeah, of course they can. It's going to be a lot harder this year, but they definitely can. They're not going to be a team that you can just walk in and say, oh, it's just the Patriots. We got this. No, they're going to be a tough out.
How can you put Jabril Peppers as the key addition when he's not even a starter, man?
Who else did they sign?
Well, Raekwon McMillan, Matt Judon.
Well, Matt Judon was already there, though.
Hey, he's better than Jabril Peppers.
Yeah, but
you want to talk about a bust? You want to talk about a bust?
He stayed.
You want to talk about a bust?
Oh, that's so funny. But look, I'm telling you, Jabril Peppers is going to be big time for Belichick.
When did Devontae Parker get there?
Oh, I saw him pull up in the wheelchair.
So he probably still catch more passes.
You think? Nah, bro. Look, we all know how Devontae Parker works. I mean, it's a classic case of when you stay on the field. If he's on the field, he's great. You got to be on the field, man. He's always hurt. I feel like I hear he's on the injury report every week. It's the craziest thing. All right, last team, we got the Buffalo Bills. Last year, 11-6, first in the division. They make the playoffs, had that crazy game against Kansas City. A lot of people thought they were going to the AFC Championship game. They were going to knock out the Chiefs. And then all of a sudden, Pat Mahomes threw some weird across the body pass to Tyreek Hill, and Tyreek Hill said, "Nah, bro, I got you. You ain't got to worry about it. We're not just yet." So, this Bills team, a lot of expectations, Jay, and you know it. This team is coming in here. A lot of people are already saying they're the team to beat in the AFC, but the AFC is so crazy. I don't know if that's automatic, Jay. I don't know if that's automatic.
They're the team to beat in the East. How's that?
Most definitely. I agree with that 100%.
Because, I mean, they added more talent. That line is scary. They bring in Von Miller. Yeah, he's long in but that wisdom he can pass on to I can't even say the dude, the Miami guy, Ed Oliver, and then Tremaine Edmonds is still there. One of the he's everywhere on the field, almost in every play he's tackling. I love this team.
Yeah, it's hard. Defensively, they're great. Micah Hyde's still there. Offensively, their only weakness is at running back, and we're going to see if they
James Cook
cured. They got two good tight ends now. We're going to see what OJ Howard can do.
They got
Dawson Knox was one of the best tight ends last year. He had like 10 of, I don't know, he had 8 or 9 touchdowns last year. Your receiving core is solid. Good.
Okay, I'm gonna pull what I call a Rob Johnson. No offense to you, Rob. James Cook will have 800 rushing yards and 12 touchdowns this year.
Well, they're gonna need it. They're gonna need it. I definitely agree. They're definitely gonna need it, bro, because that's the one piece I felt like that was missing from that Buffalo team last year. Now, if they can just stop fighting each other in training camp, then they should be okay.
Yeah, but that fire's there. But I agree.
Josh Allen was not happy when he went up the middle on that bad boy. My man was hot. Wasn't having any of it. No, sir.
Got to give you kudos though, because I remember how much you loved him. It's the first quarterback.
I'm a huge.
You've had a man crush on.
Josh Allen and Derrick Henry are my favorite non-Packer players in the league. So anytime that they're doing good things, I'm good with that. All right, everybody. That is the AFC East. here on 4 days. Next time we come on the air, which is going to be about 2 weeks, episode 299, we're heading to the north to talk about the NFC North, the Packers, the Bears, the Vikings, and the Lions. Kneecaps will be taken out as we talk about the NFC North in that next episode. But before we get into that and before we get out of here, you already know what time it is.
And now it's time for Cash or Trash.
All right, Cash or Trash. Of course, we're sticking with staying in the divisions, asking Cash or Trash questions on division situations. So we're going to start off first with the New York Football Jets. Cash or Trash, Zach Wilson will throw 30 touchdowns this season.
I gotta trash it because knowing where he came from and what they do, I'm gonna say he'll be high 20s, but I think they're gonna lean once they get down in the red zone, they'll lean more towards the running backs.
I'm gonna cash it. I'm gonna cash it because I like where they got it more. Elijah Moore had a pretty good year last year towards the end. They bring in Garrett Wilson. Huh?
Elijah Moore's 5'11". He is not a jump ball receiver.
That's okay. You got Garrett Wilson. And then you with those guys,
Corey
Burrows. What was the other guy you named?
Corey Davis is there.
Corey Davis. If Corey Davis is healthy, solid receiving core. They brought in 2 tight ends. I think they brought in Conklin and I can't think of the other guy, but they brought in 2 tight ends. CJ Uzomah from the
Cincinnati
Bengals. So, I like what they've done. I don't know. I'm not saying they're going to win it all. I just like what I've seen from this Jets team. The way that they're building this thing, I like what they see. I just hope they put it all together.
Absolutely.
All right, next one, Cash or Trash. Tua will have his best year to date. Cash or Trash? Oh, man, don't laugh at my man like that.
I'm not trying to be mean. I mean, because I remember when they benched Hurts, brought Tua in. He looked great. But since the hip injury, he don't have that zip on the ball that he had before.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know if he can make the ball travel as far and at the speed that the cheetah can run. That's my thing.
Yeah, I know. There was a lot of talk about that video, a little bit of a rough video that went out not too long ago. But he did. I know he dropped a 65-yard bomb in training camp the other day, and people was like, okay, maybe Tua got a little something. I still think if he's healthy, he'll have his best year to date. That's just because he's on the field. Just because he's on the field. He hasn't
so much rainbow in that the Lucky Charms guy got mad and left because he was tired of waiting.
Yeah, I'm cashing it only because I think he's going to see the field a lot more than he did the last couple of years. If you look at it, I mean, it's been, he had Fitzpatrick in the beginning. Then he had to take over for him. He was kind of learning. Last year, he was hurt for a while. Then he comes in. They go on that nice little run, win 7 games. I feel like with all the weapons, he should have his best year to date. So we'll see about that. Next one. This is one of my favorite ones. Cash or Trash. Damian Harris will lead the NFL in rushing TDs.
Trash.
Really?
Trash.
Trash.
Because you know as well as I do, when Belichick gets down there, he likes to do screen passes or something like that. He is definitely – I mean, the running back will be involved, but it won't be rushing touchdowns.
I'm a cash it.
Especially if it's behind Cole Strange.
Well, I'm only gonna cash it for a couple of reasons. Like last year, I think he had 9 rushing touchdowns, and they gave it between him and what's the other kid's name on that team? They got another running back that they ran the ball with a lot last year, but I just feel like I feel like he's gonna make it happen, man. Like I don't know what the rushing touchdown is gonna be. I would say probably about like 17, 16. I'm gonna say cash, man. I'm just feeling froggy about the AFC East. I'm gonna cash it.
Yeah, I know. because
Last one on Cash and Trash. The Bills will find
Stevenson's the guy he was looking for.
What was his name?
I can't say his first name. Ramondarai Stevenson.
Stevenson. Yeah, we can just go last name. You don't have to go to. I wouldn't know how to say
Derrick
that. Derrick
Henry is going to be back. And remember what he did last year? We're going to get.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I mean, they're going to have to run the ball in Tennessee because who they're going to throw the ball to?
Exactly.
That's Tennessee too bad. I like Frank Vrabel. Last one, Cash or Trash. Bills will find the answer at running back this year.
I'm gonna cash it because I actually like Cook. He is a better receiving version of his brother, but he's healthier.
Okay.
So I'm gonna
now James Cook is Dalvin Cook's little brother.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'll go ahead and cash it because if he stays healthy and he's got any hint of his brother's ability, they've already got an upgrade at the running back position easily. Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and cash. I can't think I cashed everything. Well, that's crazy. But I think I cashed everything.
Now, my wife wanted me to ask, have you thought about the bet for our 300th show?
I haven't thought that deep yet. We're gonna have to talk.
But anyways, let's go ahead.
We're gonna talk about
that time.
I don't want to shave anything yet.
Dude, I want an eyebrow. If it has to wait until DJ gets 12 and I slip him a $100 to get an eyebrow, it's worth it.
You're gonna get your nephew hurt. It's gonna be a bad deal. It's gonna be a bad deal. It's gonna be a bad deal. I'm gonna hurt him. I love him. I'm gonna hurt him, but not.
Uncle Jay, I gotta sleep on your couch. It's all right, bro.
What happened? Yeah, Dad's not letting me in. Not letting me in. Not at all. All right, everybody. That was Cash and Trash. And ladies and gentlemen, this has been episode 298 of the Legacy Maker Sports Podcast here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network. I'm your man, Darrell Owens. We got Jay Quimby. Jay, before we get out this bad boy, brother, is there anything that you would like to share?
Yeah. I could get passive aggressive with what's on my mind, but I'm going to let it slide. Build your legacy, follow it through, love your passions. Never let anybody take away from you what you love because then they're winning.
Touche. Biggest thing for me, I just want to say, everybody take care of each other. Hey, we may still come on next week. I know I'll be on vacation, but I'm debating that now. But more likely we'll be back in 2 weeks. And
that means he might need a break.
I know we'll get rested up and get ready for episode 299 here. And just want to say thank everybody for tuning in, checking in.
Love the support. Look at all the other content we got.
Yeah, just shout out to all the shows that we got on the network doing a phenomenal job out there. Appreciate all the hard work. I know me and Jay really, really appreciate everything you all, the ladies and gentlemen, are doing. So keep up the good work, and we're going to keep rocking and rolling, ladies and gentlemen. This has been episode 298 of the Legacy Maker Sports Podcast. I'm Darrell Owens. That's Jeremiah Quimby. Until
God bless.
Next time. Peace.
Legacy Maker, the
Wrong show. Wrong show. That's Sunday. Hold up. Let's do it right. Peace. Look, redo. Peace.